Welcome Aquarius to your January 2020 reading, and what a powerful year 2020 looks to be. I can't believe we are here, but here we are. I'm recording this in December. Guys, the 7th of January marks the time when Saturn and Pluto come together. They have been building up and building up and building up to this moment, calling us to restructure, let go of any systems that no longer serve us. We're seeing the chaos that results from really powerful changes taking place. We're seeing it in the world. A lot of us are experiencing those internal demands for change as well. So a powerful month, January. We're also in eclipse season. Now, guys, I was drawn to two particular angels, a little opalite angel and also a snowflake obsidian angel, to sort of oversee this reading. Now, opalite improves communication skills, helps us with transitions, helps to keep us balanced. It aligns our chakras and our meridians. It also helps us to, it's like it gives us strength to persevere. And also to kind of have a voice in terms of improving communication skills. We can often identify maybe underlying aspects of ourselves that we're needing to have a voice for. We haven't yet been able to find the right language to speak them or share them. So very powerful given the kind of astrological stuff that's going on. Snowflake obsidian brings balance within mind, body, spirit, helps us to release any unhelpful thinking patterns. Again, very tuned into the astrology. I think it's part of being human that we have unhelpful thinking patterns. I've come to the conclusion it's part of our soul's journey of evolution within the human experience, that we go through these things to help us to kind of grow. I mean, it opens us up to higher levels of consciousness. But guys, very powerful month astrologically. Now, first of all, guys, welcome back to anyone who is already following my readings and part of this amazing community that we're building. I've been reading cards for a long time, but do you know, I never imagined when I put my first readings on YouTube back in May time of this year, 2019. I'm recording this in January. Sorry, I'm recording this in December for January. And do you know, I never imagined that the readings would create the essence of a community of spiritual warriors. So guys, thank you so much. Thank you for your love, your support, for your shares, likes, comments, and for sharing aspects of your own journey. I mean, honestly, guys, I can't respond to all the comments, but I do read them, and you guys just blow me away. The integrity and your support of one another is just amazing. So thank you. Now, anyone who is new to the channel, just put that away, we're going to draw runes. Anyone who is new to the channel, I'm Jenny Florence. As I've just said, I've been reading cards forever, but I'm relatively new in terms of putting them out into the world in such an open and available way. So I put a lot of free resources into the world, so do check out the information box below. Everything you need to know is there, including an opportunity to win a free private reading with me. So guys, let's move these incredible angels. This may be a small angel, but this has some power to it. It's really it's deep. It's got a deep cleansing kind of energy. Really seems to gather light as well. I don't know if you've noticed, depending on its position, it seems to draw light into it in different areas. Let's check in with the runes. We have the rune of strength. This is terminations, new beginnings. Interestingly enough, perseverance. You know, perseverance through transition. Okay, that one's coming. I'm having trouble getting hold of the one I want amongst them all. We have the rune of journey, and we have the rune of constraint. We have the rune of growth and the rune of disruption. Well, this is very exciting. Now, let's walk through the journey of these runes, the story of these runes. Terminations, new beginnings, perseverance is required. The rune of journey asks us to, I mean, sometimes it does mean a literal journey, but most often it's a journey within. It's journeying within and slowly and steadily removing any resistances that sit within us that may be blocking us or holding us back from really accessing the things that we desire, the things we wish to manifest. Constraint. Interesting. Constraint says that maybe things aren't moving forwards as quickly as you would like them to. But it's not a rune of compliance or acceptance. What it kind of asks you to do, it's like an invitation. It asks you to, the kind of saying, when fishermen can't go to sea, they mend their nets. It's asking you to kind of put your house in order, attend to things. So in combination with the rune of journey, it really is this, identify any blocks. Don't be, if things aren't moving forwards as fast as you want them to, although I'm seeing movement forwards here, if things aren't moving forwards, it's simply that maybe there's some tiny little details that need attending to. Now, the rune of growth, Berkana, this is new beginnings, it's new opportunities, new possibilities, newfound strength within opportunity. So I feel as though January for you guys, even if things don't appear to be moving forwards as fast as you would like them to, I'm going to say don't worry about it. That's really the message that's coming through. Attend to the finer details of your everyday lives. Do everything to the best of your ability. Attend to anything that needs attending to, because it's opening, it's like it's clearing the pathway. It's a bit like spring cleaning. You know when you spring clean something? I was turning out a drawer the other day. I just made a decision to turn out my drawers. It was, I had all sorts of pairs of socks that I never ever wear. And it felt so therapeutic, but it felt really cleansing. It was actually working out what to hold on to, what to not to hold on to. And it feels as though it's like you're attending to something. So January allows that. What it's actually doing is creating space for a new beginning, creating space for possibility. And I think as January progresses, you're going to be able to find that. Now, the rune of disruption is fascinating, the energy of this. It speaks of the need to break free from something, almost like a restlessness, like you want to move forwards, you want something to change. It comes with a message that if there is a disruption, then it's timely for your growth, it's appropriate. Sometimes it's more about almost like a gradual awakening. It means that it's like a process of steady self-realization, or things come to light and then somehow they consolidate and you see things clearly. It speaks of the phoenix rising from the ashes, of an eagle soaring above everyday living with that viewpoint of huge awareness, huge insight. So, as I said, if there is a disruption, consider that it's timely and appropriate. It's calling you to look at something. It doesn't necessarily mean disruption. It sometimes literally means that you are emerging within yourself, removing resistances, attending to the details of things so that you make space to move on into, I think, a space within yourselves where you have clarity, you have that higher vision, you're ready to initiate new changes. So a very powerful lineup for a new year, effectively a January, a new year reading. I'm going to move these up here because we are going to draw lots of cards. We will draw from one of the tarot packs first. Okay, so we have temperance. There's a weighing up of something, an evaluation. Now, I think this figures in terms of the need to persevere, and the rune of journey, removing any resistances, noticing if there are any obstacles. If there's an obstacle, consider that you're called to look at the finer detail within it in order to make decisions that open a pathway of new growth and opportunity. Okay, this is interesting. We have Page of Swords. This is the kind of, I want to say, the card of gossip and drama and stuff going on that's kind of like behind the scenes. Let's draw more cards and see. I'm going to definitely draw more on that one too. Okay, Ten of Swords, you come through something. This is a card of victory. We have the card of the Hermit as well. I'm going to say, I questioned this card when it first came through. I wasn't sure whether this was connecting into your energy or energy around you. But the card of victory, you're weighing something up. This is the strength, the perseverance, the understanding any blocks, looking within for the answers. Now, what I'm going to say to you guys is, I think there is the energy of either someone or a group of people or a community attitude that's a bit, just the sort of the bit more, it's like the backstabby, drama, gossipy sort of stuff that can be really quite, it's sabotaging. And I think you're having to evaluate a situation where something of that is going on. Somebody isn't really playing a clean hand, okay? Now, the Ten of Swords would indicate that you come through this, you overcome this. I don't know whether you've been hooked or drawn into something. I think for some of you that is there. You've been hooked, drawn into something, and it's not sitting well with you. You're needing to evaluate it and understand from what I would say that higher vision perspective. You're needing to kind of take that higher ground. And I don't mean in a sort of righteous way. I mean in a genuine, knowing, insightful kind of way. You come through this, so you're either going to be cutting some cords or you're going to be standing firm, but there is something around you, there's something below the belt, or somebody isn't being completely honest, or things are being said that aren't completely correct, but that's the energy that's around. You come through this. This is a card of victory, and the key to this card of victory is this inner centeredness. It's the groundedness, to have this, the Hermit at one side of this little lineup of cards and the Temperance card. When you weigh this up from a position of inner centeredness, you're able to rise above it. It's the eagle flying high, seeing the bigger picture, and you're able to understand as well. I think there's some kind of sabotaging or something that's going on that is also causing the constraints, the restriction. It's also causing you to feel as though you want to break free from that situation. There's just something around. Now, it's going to be different for each of you. We're all on our own unique individual pathways. But, you know, for some of you guys, it could be a situation that's just a little bit toxic. It's not really running smoothly. For some of you guys, it could be, you know, within the dynamics of a friendship group or something going on in your community or within your family. But one way or the other, the energy around it is that something isn't really being managed in an open and effective way, and it's going to cause you, or I think this disruption. Maybe it's a gradual realization. Sometimes, as I said, this rune means something happens and we have to actually respond to it. It's the Great Awakener. It clears the way for the new. I always liken this rune, for me it aligns with Uranus, the planet of the Great Awakener, sudden changes. But you know, guys, I think it may actually, for most of you, be a gradual awareness. I think you are aware of whatever this is. I don't think it's new to you. I think you are already weighing it up. I think you're managing a situation. And actually, to be honest, guys, we do. We have to manage situations. But things are, I feel like the tempo is slightly increasing. And it's almost as though you're beginning to wonder whether you can continue the management of it. But the key here is to travel inwards. Look at any aspects of yourself that are either stopping you from moving on or stopping you from managing it differently, or any aspects of yourself that have caused you to be hooked or drawn into something. That's where it's like the invitation sits, really, in terms of creating the potential for new growth and opportunity, clearing the way. But you do need to also, there's a flavour of perseverance with this too. Okay, this is a very powerful card to have in this position, the card of cruelty. Now, the card of cruelty sometimes actually does mean that someone is being cruel, they're being dishonest, they're not being upfront. So interestingly, under the Page of Swords, that's a pretty powerful card to sit in this position. Very often the card of cruelty actually speaks of the cruelty that it's the stuff that we do to ourselves, the inner bully, the inner critic. And I say inner bully because some people's inner critic is not a critic, it's a bully. We are really unkind to ourselves. But there is, again, there's this flavour of unkindness, things being said that are below the belt. Even when people make a joke, sometimes people can say something that's very pointed. It's very directed, and then if you try and challenge it, they'll kind of say, oh, didn't you get the joke? And I often think, yes, I did both barrels. It's obvious that it was intended to deliver something that wasn't particularly humorous. Sometimes people use humour in a negative way. So there's definitely a flavour of something that is not, just not that it's lacking in health, lacking in healthy vitality. Whatever that is, as I said, I think you guys know what that is. What this card is speaking, I think for some of you there is just genuinely, there's some cruel intent. Sometimes unfortunately we meet people who are a bit narcissistic or a bit toxic, but sometimes it's a system that's become a little bit toxic and nobody quite knows how to stop it. It starts to gather its momentum. There are usually initiators within that. So for some of you it may be something around you. For some it may be that cruelty. For others there's a really clear message here to do with those inner self-beliefs that we have, where we don't feel like we have the right to say no to something. We don't feel as though it's okay to hold our boundaries. And actually this card, that there is a message coming through quite clearly here. In terms of the inner journey of removing any obstacles that stop you from effectively making choices, evaluating, making choices that are right for you. If this environment isn't okay for you, there's nothing here that suggests you need to take urgent, needy action, but there is a need to break free. And your ability to break free and to remove yourself from an environment that doesn't work for you involves that journeying inwards, removing any blocks within yourself that tell you that you're not entitled to change or you can't move on to something better. There's something about self-doubt that's being channeled through here. And some of you are carrying quite a strong level of that, I think, in terms of your own self-belief and entitlement to trust that you can go elsewhere if you need to. You can walk away. This choice, travelling inwards to make that choice. Okay, so this is interesting. We have a card of completion and we have the Knight of Swords. Now the card of completion would suggest, and again sitting under the Ten of Swords, something comes to a head, or it comes to this is a card, as I said, of victory. You've come through something, you've challenged, you've almost faced your own inner demons. So connecting to what I was just saying, the message that some of you are carrying something within you, ultimately it will have come from somebody not being very nice at some point in your life. But somehow we grow up with perspectives and beliefs that it's not okay to have a voice, or it's not okay to change, or we're not entitled, all that kind of inner stuff. And this card, sometimes, yes, it's a card of victory. We overcome something. Sometimes it's like literally we face our demons. We overcome those inner voices. But there is a card of completion. Whatever this is, this toxicity, it kind of, I think it reaches a conclusion. Now, for some of you, that conclusion comes because you are doing this inner work, you are removing those inner obstacles, and you make choices, you evaluate, you make choices that are centered in a kind of, in health, in mind, body, spirit, in balance. Perseverance, this wonderful little angel, communication communication skills. I think that would be considered quite a Freudian slip in terms of language. But you know, spilling. Sometimes we need to verbalize our underlying feelings, even if only to ourselves, in order to identify how we really feel about something. That gives us the strength, the persistence, the energy to tackle any unhelpful thinking patterns, connecting then into the snowflake obsidian angel. Very powerful energies they have brought here. A real invitation and big respect, guys, because this is the inner work of the spiritual warrior. Knight of Swords. I always think, for me, this card is like you cut through the crap, basically. You say how it is. Now, you don't have to say how it is in a confrontational way. If you do, you know, it may be for some of you, you do have to say something to someone, and that creates the completion. But you know, sometimes there are people who aren't going to listen, and no amount of trying to communicate with them is going to change that. So sometimes we would be wasting our energy, and if we've already tried to talk to someone and it lands on deaf ears, or it's then twisted and turned into something that wasn't really true, sometimes we have to kind of call a halt and draw a boundary. The clarity here is to do with you being clear with yourself. What you then choose to do with that is up to you. But one way or the other, it's about bringing clarity to your state of mind in a real way that acknowledges something that's actually, I don't think there's something's not entirely healthy. I don't think it's you. It's the energy of something around you. As I said, it could be an organization, a family, a group, a relationship, but there is something there that's not okay. Completion is called for, invited, requested. You have your own capacity for free will and conscious choice. It's up to you what you do with that. But yeah, be clear with yourself. You do have the opportunity this month. The energy is with you to create some kind of, I'm going to say, resolution. You know, New Year resolutions, they're actually intentions, ultimately. If we think about it, sometimes it's an intention not to do something if we're giving something up. Sometimes it's an intention to change something, shift something, bring something into our lives. So very, very good energy around you guys for that level of setting of intentions. Back to, just for a moment, the astrology. Saturn and Pluto coming together 7th of January. On the 10th, we have a full moon lunar eclipse in Cancer. Very good time to let go of anything that is blocking us from looking after our own well-being. That's the energy around that time. And eclipses are very powerful. Things can happen very quickly. Doorways can open. Realizations can happen. It's a time when there's like a portal of energy available to us that connects us to higher viewpoints, levels of insight and awareness. Things consolidate. We see something clearly. And that's a source of empowerment. So I'm now going to draw from the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards. Guys, this is a big month for these cards. January 2020 is the month that they go live. For anyone interested in any of the cards I use, there is a page, there's a link in the information box below, and all of the cards I use and the runes are all listed there, so you can access them easily if you're wanting to find a pack. The Art of Manifestation Oracle cards are my own cards. Leaping out. Every card in this pack is a message that at some point I have actually been given. It's either been channeled or in a sitting or through meditation or as a sign or a signal. And I've kept a note of all of those because, I don't know guys, for myself, there are times I need really clear, direct guidance, and that's what these cards are about. But yeah, they go live in January, and I will be holding a few packs back, and I'll draw subscriber names out of a hat and be sharing some of those new, it's the first limited edition series as well. So guys, our first card, miracles. We tend to perceive miracles only when our personal desires are met. And yet when we look back, almost all of us will be able to recall a crisis or a challenge that ultimately proved to be a miraculous turning point and an extraordinary gift. This card asks you to see the miracles that surround you right now and in every situation. I suspect this situation doesn't feel like a miracle. That kind of underhandedness where people are not being entirely honest, it leaves such an uneasy feeling. It's really hard because it's very disempowering. You know, when somebody's up front, even if you don't like what they say, you know, you can work out what you're going to do about it. When stuff is below the belt, underhanded, it's designed to maneuver and to, if I'm honest, to manipulate a situation in ways that disempower people and stop them from stepping into their own source of empowerment. I'd say this month is a month where you do step into that source of empowerment, but you do it quietly within. You take an ownership of your own choices and position. That's what you're being offered here. It doesn't have to be a conflict. It's more about you working out where you stand and what you're going to do and having that inner voice with clarity with yourself. I mean, for some of you, it may be that it leads to a conversation, but for others, it may not. The important thing is your own inner sense of entitlement to your real feelings about this and having that voice. One day, you're probably going to look back at this and see it as a miracle because it's going to create the opportunity for new beginnings, new growth. You know, sometimes if life is just ticking over, we carry on. Sometimes things have to go wrong for us to step up and think, do you know what? I've never really wanted to be here. I've always wanted more. Sometimes it gives us that nudge. Hey guys, it's the nudge. Take a leap. This card is an invitation to take a leap of faith. Sometimes, even when we desperately desire change, we procrastinate and find all kinds of reasons as to why we should stay as we are. It is completely understandable to be anxious when stepping into the unknown. This card is calling you to trust and make that move. Collaborate. This is interesting. Sometimes we are called to develop our self-sufficiency, and this can be a valuable road to travel in the discovery of our unique and individual gifts. But this is not the same as trying to do everything yourself all of the time. This is not a time to go it alone. It is a time to unite and work with others. Right, guys, very powerful message coming through here. It's the underhandedness stuff. Very often we can find ourselves in a situation where there's like, something's not right. Everybody knows it's not right, but no one is talking to one another. And everybody also then starts to retreat into their own, God, the runes are chuntering away on their own. We may need to draw another one. We retreat into a space where we think, gosh, it must be me. Or I'm the one with the problem, or everyone else seems to be okay, they're all managing. And actually no one's managing, they're all retreating into that space within where they think, you know, it must be me, I'm the problem. Actually, when we talk to other people, we discover that everybody else is seeing it the same way. And that lots of people aren't okay with something. Now, if it's a group of people, that's different, but even then you'll find people within a group will go along with something because they don't want to be the person that steps up and says something, and it actually feeds fear. So very clear message coming through. Now, while we were just speaking, or I was just speaking, we were just speaking, obviously it's me, but you know, it's connecting in. The runes were literally, they sort of chunted away. So I'm actually, before I draw another of these cards, I'm going to draw another rune. Right, guys, I'm putting that bang in the middle. That is the rune of separation. This rune, the rune Othilla, separation. This rune says that you have outgrown a situation. It's like you need to shed a skin. Sometimes it talks about letting go and moving on from a situation, letting go. Sometimes it can be the letting go literally of real estate, real property. We've outgrown something. It no longer works and we are called to let go. And it's almost like it speaks of the word inheritance. And it's not, the inheritance is something that we gain because we have actually let go of something. We've allowed it to pass. That's why the word inheritance is used. The gain comes from the space in which we let go of something so the new can emerge. Separation. Very powerful energy. That was really needing to have its voice. Wow, guys, this is a powerful reading. Learn to say no. Saying no is an act of love. When we say a healthy no to an abusive situation, whether this is in response to another person or to ourselves, we are setting limits and establishing healthy boundaries. A healthy no is saying yes to life. Give yourself permission to say no. It's a very powerful card to have in this reading. Whatever this connects to in your own, on your own unique pathways. This is a month where you have that additional insight, perseverance, cross the T's, dot the I's, journey within, make your own internal choices and decisions, remove any blocks to entitlement or your right to say no. Reach out and potentially speak to others. I think you might find you're not the only one who is kind of not okay with what's going on. I'm now going to draw from the Archangel pack. Crystal clear intentions. Archangel Michael, be clear about what you desire and focus upon it with unwavering faith. That is an invitation of strength, of perseverance. Connects into that perseverance energy again. Cool. This is interesting. This connects into the miracles. We have the card of divine order. This is lovely. I always find this card terribly reassuring. Archangel Raguel, everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see the underlying order. Wonderful. Aquarius rising, moon in Aquarius, anyone cross-watching. Guys, so much love to you. Happy New Year. Have an amazing January. Perseverance, cross the T's, dot the I's. It's not a time of ploughing forwards. It's a time of the creation of the possibility of new beginnings. And that comes from your own inner strength because you allow yourselves that clarity to trust and believe in what you actually can see, and that permission to say no, that, as I said, lovely clarity. And yeah, miracles come in many different shapes and sizes. I need to say they're not always easy. But anyway, guys, so much love to you. Do please check in with some of the other readings. I put a reading out every Sunday for weekly guidance and direction. It's like a pick a card reading, but it's about trusting your intuition and getting those insights along the way as we travel through the month. So guys, so much love to you. Namaste.